All right, I'm alive, and hey, thanks for watching Four Color Commentary. I'm Mark Allen. I am out of my element. I am uh, not in my comfort zone on a live stream, and so my live streams don't do well as far as viewership classically, but I'm just kind of doing this. I want to experiment. I want to use all forms of YouTube if or all that I can. A couple of years ago or so, I got into doing shorts and almost got a little carried away with that, but I enjoy doing that. I always like the YouTube videos is where I feel like I thrive the most. I enjoy the most anyway. I don't know if I thrive at it, but viewership's going up, subscribers going up, and that's always a nice feeling. But I like to do the live streams, and I hope I'm able to be heard. Um, but I like this format, and I'd like to get better at it. So I'm going to see if I can improve a few things here as far as I feel like I'm not being heard really well. I'm looking at the little volume bar here, and it's not going very high. And so we'll see if I can adjust the sound here in a bit. But I wanted to start. Got a few things that I'm going to talk about, as you see in the title there. And it looks like my volume is up about as high as it'll go. If I'm not loud enough, let me know whenever. I hope someone will let me know when they come into the live stream. So we'll see what we can see here. Okay. Anyway, let's start with. I want to start with the Superman movie. My 15-year-old son and I yesterday went to see the Superman movie at our local theater. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was not. It was not a waste of money. Now we do have we have the B&B Theaters app, so we saved money on ticket prices, and it was a matinee, but it was fun. It was a fun movie. It was a great divergence from the last from the Superman movies that have gone. It was if you take the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, the light, airy but meaningful and powerful, especially the first one. And when I talk about Superman the movie, I'm talking about that first one, not the ones that followed. Christopher Reeve did what, 3 or 4 of those. I'm just talking about the first one. First one was powerful. The first Christopher Reeve Superman movie was powerful, and it was also light. It had some funny moments, and Christopher Reeve is Superman. He was then, he is now, even though he's not with us anymore. That's my take. Christopher Reeve is Superman. But then there was Henry Cavill. Oh, Henry Cavill. There you go. Henry Cavill had the look of Superman, and I enjoyed Henry Cavill's Superman. But Henry Cavill was his Superman was a little too. Some people say dark. I say he was the sad sack Superman, just always sad. And the tone was dark from the tones of his costume and on. But this Superman, big, big separation from the Henry Cavill Superman, back to the lighter, brighter Superman, which is good. But it was everywhere. It was all over the place. Lots of characters, a lot going on. Here's the thing about the new Superman movie. To me, there didn't seem to be any primary moments. There wasn't one single moment that I came away with that I was like, "Wow, I'll remember that forever." In great movies, there are things that you will remember, and you'll remember them. You'll never forget them. And I don't think I'm going to have that for this movie. Hang on a second. I'm going to silence my phone here. But here's what I told my son, and this may not have been fair 20, 30 minutes into the movie. Here's what I told my 15-year-old son, though, as we were sitting there watching the movie. I told him that it had the feel of a very well done, slick, fan-made movie. Okay, fan-made video. And I stand by that. I stand by that it had the feel of a fan-made video because of the how different it was from Henry Cavill's Superman, how it returned to the brighter colors and the lighter tone of Superman, and because of how many characters were in it. You had the Justice Gang, which I really hope that changes with the next movie, whatever the next movie is. I hope they become the Justice League. I do not like Justice Gang. I don't want Justice League International. I want Justice League of America. Even though I know that's not popular. And for those who think Justice that patriot, going back, I'm going to skip over here for a moment. To those who don't think Superman should be about truth, justice, and the American way anymore, I simply say this. Take another look at Top Gun 2. It rocked the box office. People loved it, and it was a patriotic movie, okay? There's nothing wrong with truth, justice, and the American way. There's nothing wrong with Justice League of America. Do Justice League of America, and then you can do Justice League International. But I do feel like it had the feel of a fan-made film, because, and I mean that in a good way, because it had that look, and it tried to give. I think it tried to gift the fan, the true comics fan. I have no idea whether James Gunn is a true comics fan or not. Not really, but I feel like he was trying to gift true comics fans with this movie. How it'll do at the box office, anyone's guess. I don't know ultimately whether it will be considered a success or not. We'll see. But anyway, so that's my take on the Superman movie. I'm not sorry I saw it. I wouldn't necessarily go see it at the theater. By the way, I have a rambunctious cat here. I hope Spider-Man doesn't fall down here behind me. No, stop. No, stop that. I didn't hit him. Okay, I don't abuse my cat. I snap at him. He doesn't like the snap. He also doesn't like the point. He doesn't like the point. He bats at the finger when he gets pointed at. Anyway, he's determined to cause problems. So anyway, I'm not sorry I saw it. It was a great movie. I enjoyed it very much, and I do encourage you to go see it. I do encourage you to watch. Okay. I'm checking here. Okay. All right. Just checking on my channel for a moment for some odds and ends. All right. So that's the Superman movie. Steve Ditko. Recently, I got something in the mail from a site I wasn't aware of before. I won't say I never heard of it. I have, and I think it's become obvious to those who watch my YouTube channel. I don't have the best memory, but I got something from Ditko Mania. It's a website and a company, I guess a publishing company called Ditko Mania. Got something special. I supported one of their ongoing works. Plan to do so again because I love Ditko's work. And what I got was a personalized copy of what is called Fantastic Giants #1. I fully intend to go back and probably get more Fantastic Giants books. These are reprints of Steve Ditko, what his nephew Mark Ditko, I think, considers, and his other members of his family consider some of his best stuff. Maybe some of his least published stuff, or stuff that's material that's not as easy to get these days. But this is Steve Ditko's Fantastic Giants #1. This is a personalized comic. If you see the cover there, it says, Hi Mark, are you still monkeying around? I love that. Okay, I love that it's personalized. Now, I did wonder about this. Down at the bottom, you see there signed Uncle Steve. I actually emailed Mark Ditko and asked him about that. He said that when they were kids, that's the way Ditko would sign his, whenever he'd send them a letter or a note or something like that, he'd sign it Uncle Steve. Now that personalized Ditko to me. Now I'm one of the few lucky, I say few, I'm not sure there's few because Steve Ditko was quite prolific. He did interact with fans, even though he didn't do very many interviews. He did interact with fans, and I'm going to get actually to one of his earliest interviews here in this live stream. But Ditko wrote me a letter. This was probably a couple of years before he passed away, or I should say, responded to my letter. Why would he write me a letter? He responded to my letter, and that was just a neat experience. I've shared that before. I won't go over that right now. But you can search my channel and Steve Ditko letter. You'll probably find it, or just searching Steve Ditko. You'll find a lot of other videos, but anyway, but this was just really cool. And it's just reproductions of Ditko, some of Ditko's work. And, in this case, The Land of the Frozen Giants. Now they're also reprinting Mr. A material, and I don't know. I don't remember now if Mark is. I don't know if there's another artist in the Ditko family who is continuing the Mr. A work. I don't believe so, but I do know that he continued his Mr. A work into the modern age, and just a few years before, I think even in his final years, he was still doing some Mr. A work. But just some really cool reproduced, recolored Ditko work. And if you like Ditko, if you know, Ditko is, I know they say Jack Kirby is king. I'm not sure that Ditko wasn't king, but there you go. I just inflamed a bunch of, if anybody watches this, inflamed some Jack Kirby's fans right there. Here's a look at issue number 2 of Fantastic Giants. Okay, so it's kind of a cool little book that I got to be. I think it ran me about $13, which for a personalized comic book, I think I loved it. I love it. And so, but what I wanted to do also is I wanted to talk about a quote from this early Ditko interview that I referenced already. Steve Ditko interview from 1968. Now, where I found this, I found this in a very, very useful, very entertaining, if you like comic book history, publication that I've mentioned on videos before, Alter Ego. This was Alter Ego number 160 from 2019. And there's a great, of course, Ditko cover on there. Good stuff. But there's an interview in here from 1968 conducted by Mike and Rich Howell and Mark Canterbury that was published in their fanzine of the day called Marvel Maine. This was Marvel Maine number 4, published October, November of 1968, which was the year I was born, by the way. Born in January of 68. And I want to apply this to something I've said many times. People will do videos and do challenge videos saying, give us your favorite, fill in the blank, your favorite superhero title, your favorite artist, your favorite writer, your favorite comic book of all time. And see, I can't do that stuff. Steve Ditko, in answer to an interview question, finally put into words how I feel about the question of favorite artist or best artist. And then it's going to be a little bit of reading, but I'm going to read to you the question, and then I'm going to read Ditko's answer to you, okay? And so this is a question asked by one of the interviewers. Let me see. Okay, sorry about that. I should have had it picked out. Thought I did. Thought I had. There it is. Okay. I'm working on it. Okay, here we go. Here's the question. And they said this: besides yourself, who do you regard as the 5 best artists in comicdom? Now, only I'm keeping in mind they were kids when they asked this question. I mean, they were truly kids. They were teenagers. The assumption of this question is wrong. I don't think Steve Ditko would have said that he was one of the top 5 artists in the business. I don't think he would have said that. And I don't think he believed that. Steve was, and from everything I know, I think he was his biggest critic. In fact, he had stated that before, that he was his own biggest critic. And anyway, so the question goes: beside yourself, who do you regard as the 5 best artists in comicdom? Now, his question is great. I mean, his answer is great. It explains exactly why I can't put my finger on 1 or even 5, as that's here, greatest artists. And here's what he said: that question is too difficult to answer and be fair. You have to set up and give a standard on how you judge the artist, and there are too many factors to be considered, and they don't fit every artist the same way. Artists fall into too many categories. Some are pencilers, some are inkers, some do both. Some artists, and that's a good point. We don't always, people, when they say artists, comic fans say artists. I believe that so much of the time they're simply referring to pencilers. They're not talking about inkers. They're not talking about colorists. Those people are artists as well. Okay. So he says artists fall into too many categories. Some are pencilers, some are inkers, some do both. Some artists specialize in the type of story they do: romance, war, superheroes, etc. Some types demand more or less imagination or draftsmanship, as in war and fantasy. And the artist has to be judged accordingly. The artist has to be separated from the popularity of the strip, personality, etc. He can only be judged by his artwork, and that has to be broken down into storytelling. Some artists are good in some phases, poor in others. You have to weigh the separate parts with the total effect, then try to separate the art in black and white, as the artist does it, from the effects or apparel or appeal. I'm sorry, let me start over on that. You have to weigh the separate parts with the total effect, then try to separate the art in black and white, as the artist does it, from the effects or appeal of coloring that the artist does not do and is not responsible for. So it's much simpler for anyone to pick his own favorites, the ones that give him the most enjoyment, and let the serious art critics struggle with the burden of deciding who is the better artist. Now, as far as the serious art critics go, since art is subjective, I'm not sure that we could give any quote unquote critic any kind of authority, ultimate authority, when they say so and so is, or these top 5 are the best artists, hands down, across the board. That would be very, very hard to do. And so I like that Ditko did this. It galvanizes how I've always felt about being able to pick a favorite, being able to, being able to just say so and so is my favorite artist, or these are my favorite artists. And so anyway, there's that. Okay, there's that. And so I really enjoyed that interview. Again, if you're not an alter ego reader, a lot of them are some back issues are going to be difficult to attain, but you can find deals, and our alter ego is still going on. It's still a thing, and it's still an active publication. I don't believe it's monthly anymore, but it may still be. I haven't taken it in quite a while, and the reason I haven't is because I have years worth that I need to pour through. I was buying them, I was flipping through and enjoying the reproduced art, some art that had never been seen before. Alter Ego is a great resource for art that's never been seen before, whether it's sketch art or alternate covers or what have you, fan art, but by fan art I mean art sent to fans by artists. Okay. And so, it's a great publication, but I just got to where I was taking it, every month, wasn't really reading it like I should have been. And when I jumped off of it, it was $10 per issue. So I just finally dropped it, and I'll go back one day. And after I've read what I've got, and I'm slowly working through that, I'll go back and get some more issues. But anyway, that's my bit on Steve Ditko today on this. Now, I mentioned Jekyll and Hyde. Jekyll and Hyde, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. What I did, I'm on vacation right now. Been on vacation, which is one of the reasons why I haven't done a regular video. Well, okay, that's not the only reason. I've only been on vacation for a few days. I haven't done a video in weeks. I am going to continue my John Byrne look at John Byrne's work, retrospectives, however you want to say it. The next one is a publication from I think Pacific Comics from 1981. I won't say any more than that. It is a reproduction. It is a collection. But I'll be going there soon. But I've been on my vacation. I've been catching up on some things I've had for a while and never read. In this case, I'm catching up on a book that I acquired over 30 years ago when I lived in Honolulu, Hawaii. Somebody's mowing outside. And I really hope that doesn't play into this too much. But there's no title on the cover. I do love the design, though, the swirling design. This is a 1952 copy of the Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And there you have the title on the spine. What's really one of the things that's cool about this book, when I acquired it, and I forgot about this when I probably hadn't taken this out of the slipcase in a decade. But it had in it the Heritage Club was the book club that someone ordered this book through. Had the Heritage Club newsletter that came in the issue called The Sandglass, and it had a little some historical information on Robert Louis Stevenson and Jekyll and Hyde, the work. All right. And so one of the things that I noticed in this, and like I say, I had never read the actual story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde before. Didn't realize that the formal title was The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Here's an example of the illustrations in the book. Great stuff. Really beautiful to look at. What's the artist's name? Let's check out the artist's name for you here. Illustrations by Edward A. Wilson. Okay, so it's a Heritage Press publication. But great illustrations in this book. But what it did is it revealed something about the character Mr. Hyde that I was never aware of. And what I'll do I'll give you the first image of Mr. Hyde. Chilling scene that was described when Hyde was first seen. He was seen walking over, just trampling a little girl with no mind or safety, no mind that he'd even done it. And here's the illustration that the artist did of that. As he just walks over this little girl, never stops, never checks on her, never apologizes. He's seen from the back. Just kind of a creepy image. I love that. And it really lent to the mood of the story. Mr. Hyde is a figure of dread. He's a figure of disgust. And here's a picture of one of the characters' first, Mr. Utterson, his first contact with Mr. Hyde. Okay, and that's Hyde facing the reader. What do you notice about Mr. Hyde? What you notice is he's not large. Now here's how this translates to comic books. It has been, many, many times referenced that by Stan Lee himself, that the Incredible Hulk, Bruce Banner and the Incredible Hulk, were influenced by the Stevenson characters, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I think about how Mr. Hyde had been portrayed in movies like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That was a really interesting Mr. Hyde because it was live action. He wasn't CGI, and he had arms, gigantic arms and hands that the actor had to work, inside. It was a costume. It wasn't really even, couldn't really, I guess you could call it to some extent animatronic, but it was fake, false hands, oversized, and arms that he had to put on and make work in many cases. Now, some of it was CGI. The big fight scene with Hyde and what I call, Ultra Hyde. And I won't explain that. You just have to, if you haven't seen the movie, it's totally, it's not a good representation of the comic book property at all, but it is, it's fun to watch. It's fun. It is fun. And I'll give it that. But then what's the other? I'm trying to think of the other movie. And it's the man who was the vampire hunter, who was the supernatural hunter. And I can't remember his name, but the actor who played, here's where my memory comes in. The actor who's played Wolverine for years, played this character. And in that, again, Hyde was well oversized. Basically in just about every movie iteration of Mr. Hyde, he's oversized. He's a monster. He's monstrous. He's huge. He's big. That wasn't the case originally. And I should have done this already, but I'm looking for here's a description of Mr. Hyde from Robert Louis Stevenson's work. Okay. The lawyer looking forth from the entry could soon see what manner of man he had to deal with. He was small and very plainly dressed, and the look of him, even at that distance, went somehow strongly against the watcher's inclination. But he made straight for the door, crossing the roadway to save time. And as he came, he drew a key from his pocket like one approaching home. Now, let me skip ahead a little bit. Mr. Utterson approaches him, addresses him, and Mr. Hyde shrunk back with a hissing intake of the breath. But his fear was only momentary, as though he did not look, and though he did not look the lawyer in the face, he answered coolly enough, "That is my name. What do you want?" Okay. So here's this Mr. Hyde. He's objectionable. He he has an intimidating attitude, but he's not a large, imposing man. I just found that interesting, that Robert Louis Stevenson's Hyde was not a large man. Okay. And it makes you want, it begs the question, where did that start? Where did the idea begin in the comic book world anyway? Where did the idea begin that Mr. Hyde was a large man? He wasn't. And I just find that interesting. But Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, haven't finished the story yet, but great story. Creepy feel, and love those kind of books. And yet, like modern day, it's not like modern day horror at all. It's not gory. It's not blood soaked. It's not profane. It's just good creepy entertainment. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so anyway, there's the bulk of what I was going to talk about on this live stream. I do want to talk about a character that I've known of for years, but have never experienced, never read a single panel of work on this character. But I was in an antique store in Veneta, Oklahoma yesterday, and I came across for a buck, with tax, a buck and a dime, came across a collection from actually from Dargod, I guess that's how you pronounce it, Canada, a Canadian publishing company. I'm looking for a publication year, 1973. Now, the strips that it collects undoubtedly were from, excuse me, those are probably when the strips were from, 1973. This has a 1981 publication date. So I'm going to guess that the collection was published in 81. The strips were from 73. But this is Asterix in Corsica. All right. Now, I've never read any Asterix before, but I've heard people who are fans of Asterix seem to be rabid. Okay, they love the strip. Pardon me. They love the strip, and it is a humorous strip, as you can probably tell from the style. But for years I've heard about how good it is. It is a European strip as well, I believe. Don't know anything about the creator, but I'm going to read this, and if I enjoy it, it'll I'll be talking more about it, I'm sure. But as comic book readers, I think it's important. Well, as partakers of art and culture, which that's what we are. Okay, comic books are an art form, and comic books have a culture. Okay, but as partakers of art and culture, no matter what art form and which culture, we ought to be looking at new things, I think, all the time, expanding our idea of what the culture is and what the art form can be. Okay, and especially when if you are submerged only in modern day comics, and I would say this of any era, not just today, not just the comics world of 20 years ago or 40 years ago when I was thriving in comics as far as a reader, a fan, but whatever era, you need to not be submerged just in what you read regularly. You need to be discovering and looking at new stuff. There is so much in comics to be discovered. Nobody knows everything in comics. Nobody knows about everything, and nobody has read everything. And so it's always good to be discovering new stuff. So anyway, excuse me. I think it's time for me to sign off. Pretty much covered everything I was going to cover for this live stream. Just wanted to get something out there. And if one person sees it and is entertained by it, that's great, because I do this first and foremost for my entertainment. This is the hobby, and I like talking about it, even if I'm talking into the abyss. Okay, but I've enjoyed interacting with fans. I enjoy interacting with those who watch the videos, and I want to do more of these live streams. But time is limited. But anyway, that's it for now. Appreciate. I see that Brian LCS has shown up. Brian, thanks for hopping on. And go back and watch the rest of the live stream. Some interesting stuff in there about Steve Ditko, about the Superman movie, about Jekyll and Hyde. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Four Color Commentary. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe if you haven't. And we'll talk to you on the next video.